How many of you can understand how someone could be absolutely afraid of money? Okay. And at the same time, how many of you could also see how someone could be absolutely empowered by money? So what I'm going to share with you today is how we can be afraid and how we can be empowered, and most importantly, what we can do to make money work for us. The only reason why I founded My Man Is Not My Plan is because I saw way too many women living in fear and not enough being empowered and owning their money. So what I invite you today is to step out of fear and to step into being empowered. We are going to extinguish this fear. Everybody with me? And for anybody who feels that they are not capable of, they're afraid of, and that they may not be able to do it, we will call in the enforcers. I knew there was going to be some people that were like, I can't do it.
Do they look at them?
Yes, they work for the Coral Gables Police Department. I'm just kidding. I don't know, but yes, I would definitely want them to come to my house. So with this, what I present to you as a topic of today, and that is mind over money, how to create smarter money moves, how to train your brain to pick up on certain things that we do that we don't even realize it, okay? So I'm gonna talk purely from personal experiences. I'm gonna share with you guys stuff that I haven't shared many times, even with my clients, because when they come to me, I'm the go-to person, right? I'm supposed to know what's happening with their finances and how stuff is supposed to be wonderful, but I've also made mistakes, and this is an opportunity for me to share that in a very authentic fashion. So I'm gonna take you first with which typically how I treat a client, is that we talk about pitfalls, things that could potentially happen in the future. Anybody ever learned from somebody else's experiences, having seen them make some mistakes? But how many of us also had to live them firsthand to know what was up, right? You know, it's until you're in those shoes that you actually know what's going on. So we're gonna go through the 4 pitfalls. If any of you guys wanna take notes, you're absolutely welcome to, but we will regurgitate. So I'm gonna start off with a time that we have all lived, and it's called a recession. Who here remembers our last recession? Who here had fun during our last recession? Yeah, like my hand's like in the ground. That was not fun. So with that, I mean, a recession is typically followed by an overexcitement of anything in the market. What we experienced last time was with real estate, right? There was speculation. People were just buying and buying and buying and buying. I mean, I remember going to a realtor and her just saying, give me the check right now and it's yours. And I'm like, you don't even know if I'm a worthy candidate for this. It was crazy, and that's why we had the boost that the bust that we had. So the reason and the way that I want you guys to think about a recession is like winter. Who in this room knows someone who went out to Vail or to Colorado, or maybe even the East Coast, because I think they had a better snow season this year. Anybody went skiing this year? Okay. So I'm a snowboarder. And I live in Miami, so I don't know what I'm doing. But anyway, so I'm a snowboarder. And whenever I'm cold, whenever I go into the midst of winter, I buy as many hand warmers, I have as many layers. The amount of money that I have spent on burden gear is ridiculous. I have everything. Why? Because I want to be protected. I want to be warm. I want to be safe. Am I going to be running on ice? Would you be running on ice? No, I'm going to be treading lightly. I'm going to be wearing my Uggs. Like, everything is about surviving that cold, right? I am not taking risks. I am not doing anything. Now, the comparison that I'm trying to make for you guys here is that a recession is very much so like winter. It is about surviving. People step back into a way that they typically thought that they would like to spend their money, and they don't do anything with it, right? They put it in the bank. They're happy with that point whatever percentage rate of return, which is really nothing, because we still have inflation during recessions. And we just say, okay, let's wait this out, right? Things are going to be better later. I've got to be safe. So we do this, but in actuality, one of the best times to continue to grow your money is actually during winter. Who follows what I'm saying? Who thinks I'm crazy? So who likes to walk into Nordstrom or actually Neiman's, because I really like Neiman's. So who likes to go into Neiman's and to buy something on a sale? That is essentially what you're doing when you continue to invest, when you continue to save, when you continue to have a strategy during a recession. Why? Because you are buying stuff cheap. You're buying stuff on sale, not overpriced in a boom. So whenever you guys see any topic, and it doesn't just happen, you know, with real estate. I mean, I remember a couple of summers ago, I had more clients calling me about Bitcoins, which is a fictitious currency which was supposed to change the world. I mean, I don't know. The last time I went to Starbucks, I still paid with dollars. I didn't pay with Bitcoins. So the point being is that whenever we're seeing certain fads that happen within the market, we really have to be mindful. What risks am I taking? And am I also taking them at the right time? That's pitfall number one, okay? And when I looked at, you know, I'm like, okay, so what is the average American household doing? My client base, I would not say is the average American household, but I like to know, again, mind. You know, it doesn't really matter how rich you are or where you come from. I mean, there's a lot of different skin colors here, different countries represented, right? But at the end, there's still that human psyche. How do we think? How do we analyze things? So I looked at a specific thing that absolutely shocked me, and it is that the average American household spends $1,000 on lottery tickets a year. Average household. So with that, I'm thinking, okay, I also know that the average spending, the average savings rate is $1,200. So where are we taking our risks? You know, we don't feel that dollar, that $2. And again, I'm not saying kick the habit of going and buying a Powerball, but there's certain people that really say, hey, I don't feel this, therefore I'm going to do this for an extended amount of time. But when you add up that money, it doesn't make sense to make that type of a risk. Make sense? Good. The second one is protecting your stuff. Now, who in here knows someone who has ever purchased any extended warranty on anything in their house? Okay, so I'm going to talk about something that I asked everybody to turn off before I started speaking, and that was I'm going to assume iPhone, because they've got the gross market share right now. Okay, so let's talk about the iPhone. I mean, I've been in love with the iPhone since the thing came out, right? I mean, haven't we all loved the iPhone, right? It's changed our life. It's like, I think the last time I looked, we check it on average 150 times a day. I mean, that thing is like it's an extension of who we are to a certain extent. So with that, I looked at some numbers to see that the majority of people that have an iPhone own a warranty on it. So let's give this iPhone a value. Is everybody okay with $500? Because that's what I looked at the replacement. So $500, okay? And then when you're looking at the insurance part of it to replace whatever may happen, whether it slips, falls, cracks, I think the cracking is the one that they really get them, the people really turn them in for. And on average, it costs $20 a month. So if I'm Apple, for every extended warranty that I sell, for this $500 item, I'm essentially getting paid for two. That's a good business deal. I will give you one item, you will give me two. Now, this is one of the mistakes that I made. My husband was like, you're crazy, don't buy that. And I'm like, but I break it all the time. My last iPhone, I cracked 4 times. Actually, no, it was actually 8. But anyway, so I was like, I really need this. Mind you, I cracked mine about, I think it was like a week or 2 weeks ago, and I sent it in, and lo and behold, came a deductible. The deductible was $150. When my husband cracked his screen and he did not have a warranty, he paid $80. That's a very expensive screen. And we do this all the time with different products. And so why am I harping on an iPhone? Who cares about $500 over the course of 2 years? But when I look at my clients that come into my office that have many times significant amounts of wealth, I have yet to have one client that comes in, one family, one business owner that is properly protected from the insurance standpoints on themselves and also on their ability to make money. So I'm thinking, okay, we're protecting our stuff, but the vehicle that is the most important with how we experience life, which is our health, which is our life, which is anything for us to have these memories with our kids, with our husbands, with whoever it is that we want, we're not protecting that. And when, again, because I love statistics, when I look at the statistics, 40% of Americans don't have life insurance at all. But everybody has their iPhone insured. It's something to really think about. Where we allocate our insurance budget, it is important, but we really need to ensure the right things and make sure that the money's being allocated there. So that's pitfall number 2. Pitfall number 3 is one of my favorites. Now, it doesn't matter if you were raised in Germany or Mexico or good old Florida. When we were raised, we were taught that any time that you have a plate in front of you, what do?
Fill it up.
You fill it up, but you eat it. You eat the whole thing. I was a pretty fat 10-year-old because my mom thought it was cool that I ate a Whopper. Not something that I think any moms are telling their kids now. Nonetheless, that mindset of I have it now, I have to consume it all, that's also part of how our wiring is. You know, if you look back to the times where, you know, we had to fend from animals and so forth, it's you eat today because you don't know when you're going to eat. Now, where does that apply into finance? Where that applies into finance is that when we have the opportunity to acquire things, but it overextends us. How many people know someone who were offered a mortgage that they really probably shouldn't have taken because it overextended their budget? Just because it was there. Right? It's part of our human nature. We've got to catch ourselves in those points. And I'm going to share with you one of my favorite stories about personal finance. Yes, that's Gandalf. I thought that was really fun. And one of my favorite stories goes back when I was 30. Yes, I'm not 25. When I was 30, and I was like, you know what? I've always drove a company car. The company that I worked for, I was taken care of, and they gave me a car. And I said, you know, it's about time that I have a really nice car. I've got a great personality. I dress really nice, and I'm driving this company car. Like, I need something that is an extension of my personality. Like, I deserve it. You know, I need some moonroof and some leather, and let's go cruising into Vail with style. And I got my snowboard on the top. Everything's good, right? Why? Because, like L'Oreal says, I'm worth it. I deserve it. I should have it. And what did I choose to do? Is that I chose to go to all of the luxury brands. And I'm not saying that having a good car isn't a bad thing. And I really love my car, but there's some things that I think I probably should have not been so emotionally attached to in the decision making that I made. So I call my friend Kevin. And Kevin is kind of like the equivalent of a woman in that he's a spender. He's a buyer. He wants everything right then and right now. So I probably didn't bring the right person. So Kevin comes and he's like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get a car. And we go everywhere and none of the cars really are what I want. And I call my brother and I'm like, I hate car shopping. Does anybody in here hate car shopping? Yes, I feel like I'm talking to the devil. I'm like, really, are you charging me two times just because I'm a woman? Yes, you are. But anyway, so Derek, my brother, is like, we'll go to the Audi dealership. Audis are great. So I get to the Audi dealership. And at this point, the Audis, I guess, were just on high demand or whatever it may be. And there only happened to be 2 models of the car that I wanted. That was the only car that I wanted. And there was a 4-month waiting period for me to be able to get the car that I wanted. Now, I'm worth it, I deserve it, I'm Gandalf, give me the car now, right? So what did I do? I paid what they pretty much wanted me to. I kind of negotiated, but I drove off with the car. I was so happy. Kevin's like high-fiving me, things are great, we're like taking pictures, like it's awesome. Until I get to the gas station and I go to load up and I open up the gasket and it says 91. And I literally said words that I cannot say right now because I'm being taped. And I said, are you kidding me? Premium gas? I didn't bother to think about that. The high went down very fast. I think many of us know somebody who's had that type of an experience, right? And that experience further became more excruciating where I actually literally cried at the collection because they tried to sell me a great deal for $1,200 for 3 oil changes. Yeah. Again, when we're looking at consuming certain things, when we're looking at buying a certain product, a house, whatever it may be, got to really look at the cost. What is that going to cost us, not just today, but what is that going to cost us down the road? And more importantly, when you allocate money to something, it's really important because that's an opportunity that you no longer have to do something else. Everybody follow? Mm-hmm. Awesome. And the fourth and final pitfall is, oh yeah, I thought that was hilarious. That was part of my slide of, yeah, you know, I lost both. And the next one is saving tomorrow. How many of you have heard a person say, I'm going to work out tomorrow. I'm going to eat a salad tomorrow. I'm going to be nice to my husband tomorrow. I'm just kidding. All right. So with that being said, there's also a human aspect to always say, I'm going to do this tomorrow. I mean, I envision my abs and my legs and all my body parts really looking amazing, but it's going to happen in the future. But I've got to get up at 5:30 in the morning, do some meditation, right? Work out. It doesn't happen. You know, my bed, my pillow, hug my husband, my dogs. It's awesome. So I don't do that. So, you know, it's really looking, you know, we have a disassociation with that future self because we like to indulge. And so what I want to share with you guys is how, if I look at you know, let's just take a very simple sum. And it's only for math, okay? It's only for math. But somebody that makes $60,000, if they were to save 5%, that's $3,000 in a year. It's not probably going to help somebody retire, but when you break it down and you look at a weekly basis, it's a little bit more than $60. And when I read blogs, when I read articles, the average American says, I can't save $1 because I'm stretched. And it doesn't even matter if people are very, very affluent or if people are just getting by. I think we all know people that if they have the money, they find a way to spend it. True? Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people like that. And so when I did some calculations, because of course I'm a math person, I'm a finance person, that's what I like to do. And when I said, okay, well, let's suppose that this person only does 5% for 20 years, it's almost $250,000 after 20 years. That's what $60 can do. Now, once you start getting into, you know, higher percentages, the average percent for someone to be able to really retire well is 20%. That is where people need to be. And when I ran those exact same numbers on $60,000 and we compounded the interest, and actually, I didn't say this, but the interest where this person got was 4%. That's not very high. That's not very high. So I mean, this wasn't even an aggressive investment strategy, and that's $250,000. Now let's say that I crank that up to 20%, where I know that that's kind of the golden number, right? It's $2 million. That's a difference of percentages, and it's very easy to get there. So this is a part, and this is actually a presentation I've been wanting to do for such a long time, because I never, when a client comes and talks to me, I don't go full force and, well, let's do this, and let's paint your eyebrows, and let's get your new hair, and let's put on some pumps. No. Why? Why are you where you are? Because if you come and work with me, I don't necessarily want to, you know, put together this plan so that, you know, a year from now you may come back to me, or you may go to somebody else and say, wow, that girl Alexia, she really didn't do her job. I want to know why. And with that, I went back and looked at a lot of psychological studies. And this is a part where it's you're like, am I in sociology class or what's going on? But this is something I've really wanted to do, and I want to share with you guys on how and why these things happen. So the first one is eating the marshmallow. Has anybody ever heard of eating the marshmallow? Okay, some of us have, okay? Now, eating the marshmallow means instant gratification. We love just taking that, and there's a lack of self-control that's going with that. So let me tell you a little bit from the research component why this is something, and how it has some serious ramifications in our financial picture. So there was a study that was done by Stanford researchers, and what they did is that they had children the age of 4, and what they did is they said, you have the right to sit in this room for 15 minutes, and you have a marshmallow on a plate, and if you don't eat it, when I come back, I will give you 2. How many people think those kids at the age of 4 ate the marshmallow. 2/3 of them ate them. And if you guys ever get a chance to see the video, it's on YouTube. It is hilarious. The kids are like smelling them. They're like rubbing them like it was perfume. And there was one little girl that like ate the inside of it, but still had the outside of it. It was awesome. And one of the things that these guys, they were looking at something different, but what they were able to find when they, because they stayed with these kids to the age of 18, when these children were 18, the 1/3 that did not eat the marshmallow, they were successful. And the 2/3 that ate the marshmallow, they weren't so good at school. Some of them didn't even make it to college. So think about how we eat marshmallows, even though we're not kids, even though, it's, not something, as simple as a marshmallow. That's something that, oh yeah, I forgot this. I put the coffee thing on there because, I like to also relate it to adults, and that's, it's kind of like saying to an adult, like, don't have coffee in the morning, have it like at noon. So anyway, I thought that was funny, but I didn't say that. So the second point is checking the box. Now, what does checking the box have to do with anything? I found another study that looked at Germans and looked at Austrians, because what ended up happening is that in Germany, there was a big shortage for organs. And they couldn't understand how in Germany, there was 12% donors, and in Austria, there were 99. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys have been to Oktoberfest, but they're very similar. I mean, I've been to Oktoberfest in Austria, and I've been to Oktoberfest in Germany. They're very similar. I mean, they kind of talk the same language, same mannerisms, they're mostly white, but how could some of them really be generous and some of them not? Germany really had a problem. So what ended up happening is that the researchers looked at the physical form of the DMV. And in Germany, you have to check the box if you want to be a donor. And when you go to the counterpart of Austria, you have to check the box that you don't want to be the donor. So the moral of the story is that we don't like to check boxes. We don't like to read. We don't like to do more work than we actually have to do. And when I look at the average 401k plan requiring 17 clicks, oh my God, I've got to watch my soap operas. Or as I say in Spanish, my telenovelas. I've got other stuff to do. Oh, and I've got to figure out what this allocation means. What's a bond? What's this? I don't know. Forget this. I don't do that. So checking the box and looking at different things that might potentially scare us, it's something that really adds on a level of complexity. And you may want to write this down. Complexity is the absolute killer of execution. If something is complex, we're not going to do it. Why? Because it's too complicated. Fair? And number 3 is loss aversion. And I'm going to share with you guys a study that was also done, but it was done with monkeys. So you have group 1 of monkeys, and they received 1 apple. And then you have group 2, they received 2 apples. However, the second group had 1 apple taken away. They were pissed. They were angry. They were not happy. But they both had 1 apple, Alexia. Yes, they did. What did the second group experience that the first one didn't? A loss. They hated to lose. Now, I'm not implying that we're monkeys, even though some people might say that we're related. We're not going to go there. But we don't like to lose. And it's not just to lose money. I mean, I have a lot of clients that say, Alexia, take care of this. As long as I don't have a loss, I'm good. There's a lot of that. But then there's also, what I hear more is, I really like to live my life. I don't know when I'm going to die. I want to go out with a bang. I want a vacation. I want to have all these nice things because I don't want to feel like I miss out. Who here knows or has a friend who always is out? And the reason that they're out is because they want to be a part of it. They don't want to hear the stories of that blah, blah, blah was there. Did you hear what blah, blah, blah did? They have to know that. That part of experiential loss we also want to have. It's not just losing money. So again, with those things that work kind of against us in our wiring, if we're aware of it and we know it, and I know you guys are probably looking at me like, oh my gosh, like, do I need to go to a clinic? Do I need to get studied? Like, how do I need to get rewired to stop doing this stuff, right? But that's not the point. And that's the part where I get to offer you the solution to say, okay, what can I put in place to make something work for me? So these are the 3 steps. 1 is start checking the box. Just do it. Don't wait anymore. I mean, that's the first step of anything else. And it's not groundbreaking, but it is what it is. The second one is to automate. And that is wherever it is that you figure out that you feel comfortable putting your money, have it go without you even having to get involved. Because that would add on one more step of complexity, right? One more thing for you to do. But if it just goes, it's getting done. Do you have the loss aversion? No, because you never had it to begin with. So it starts checking off psychologically all these things. Now, there's a lot of people that feel like you've got to massage different reasons and say, but you know what? Just tax yourself a certain percentage or pay yourself. You know what? That's too complicated. Just automate it and never see it. The monkey in us isn't going to know that they lost their apple, and we're good to go. And then finally is be consistent. Remember the second pitfall that I talked about is the winter and the summer. During winter, we've got to be doing what we're doing in summer. Keep those percentages consistent, because consistency is what's going to drive the results. Okay? And I want to prove to you guys how this worked. And this example was actually done in the Midwest. It was taken to a blue-collar company where these wage earners didn't make over $30,000. And what they went to these guys, the researchers said, you have to save something. They were like, no way. They applied the 3 steps that I'm talking to you guys, and these are the results that they had. So first year they said, so you can't save anything. Okay, let's automate. Let's say 3.5%. And they finally got the entire company to agree that they were going to save 3.5%, which is not a lot of money. I think you guys will agree with me, right? 3.5%. So what ended up happening is that as people got raises the next year, people then also said, okay, well, I got a raise. What do I do with my raise? And then the researcher said, take that same percentage and keep on applying it to your raise. Don't take the whole raise and put that towards savings, because you want to also get the gratification of getting that raise, but apply that. And what ended up happening after 5 years, people just started saving. And as you can see on the chart, it was almost 14%. And the reason that I put those pictures on there of what it is that's the type of retirement, that's the type of lifestyle that someone can have when they save these types of percentages. I don't know about you, but I like some nice things. I don't want a sneakers retirement. I want the Cadillac retirement. And that's really what percentages come down to. And again, if we were able to prove that blue-collar workers in the middle of the US were able to do it, I find that most people really can be able to do it as well. And so of all the stuff that I've talked, I hope that you've been able to gauge, or I've been able to convey how much I absolutely love what I do and how passionate I am about helping people. And at this opportunity, I also want to be very grateful to each of you for taking some time to come today and listen to me, for being curious, and 2, for being brave enough to coming something that's called My Man Is Not My Plan. I'm sure that that's an interesting conversation topic at times. And I'd like to share with you that our organization, even though we are not a 501c3, we do a lot of outreach. I personally spoke to 3 different organizations to women of lesser means that were either battered or foster children about to age out. And I can't tell you the amount of satisfaction, but also the level of impact that these topics that we carry at My Man Is Not My Plan were able to have. And for that, and to keep that type of work going, what I'm gonna offer you guys, and I'll invite you to consider, is that if you guys want to handle any of these personal topics with me personally, I am going to be giving a 60-minute consultation where I will show you what you get, and in exchange, we're going to be making a donation to these types of products. To these types of associations. So what you get, we're going to be looking at your protection, what your percentages are, and how it is that you are actually automating. Okay? And ultimately, what you're going to get is you're going to be empowered, you're going to know what's up, and you know what? You're not going to have to think about it. You're going to be able to do other things that you want to do. And at the same time, you're also giving back to charity. So, with that being said, my last wish for you is for you to shed the fear, step into being empowered, create that life of confidence, of love, of carefreeness, because you no longer have that weight on your shoulder. And if for some reason you at any point are afraid, I'm going to share with you a topic that I always go back to annihilate that. And that is that I always step back in time and I say, okay, what would 4-year-old Alexia do? She did exist, as did all of our 4-year-old selves exist at one point. And what I ask you is, what was she like? Did she stop crawling when she started? Did she not continue to ride the bike when her parents put her on it? Did she stop going to school when she was potentially bad at math or science? No. She continued. So at any time that you are afraid of any of these financial topics, step back into that person and ultimately become unstoppable. Change the community, change your life, and give back. Thank you.